Hello, fifth grade. How are you? I miss you all. I hope all of you are okay. God be with you. Today's lesson is about the earth revolves around the sun. دوران الأرض حول الشمس. Lesson 6.5, page 90. Look at this picture. This picture shows us how the revolution of Earth around the sun occurs. Look, what is this? This is the revolution of Earth around the sun. This is the Earth, and this is the sun. Look at the shape of the orbit. Oval. The Earth revolves around the sun in an orbit. مدار. بيضاوي. هليجي. Oval shaped. بيضاوي. The Earth travels around الأرض. تدور. تتحرك. revolves. تدور. travels إنه بتتحرك. around the sun. الأرض تدور حول الشمس. The earth takes 365 and quarter day 365 يوم وربع so as to complete one revolution. لما الأرض تدور دورة كاملة حول الشمس دورة كاملة it needs تحتاج 365 يوم وربع اللي هي السنة. It is a year, 1 year. Look at this picture. The Earth travels in an oval-shaped orbit. الأرض بتتحرك بشكل بيضاوي. Look at the arrow here. Look. It's not a circle. It's oval-shaped. شكل بيضاوي. Orbit. As it travels around the sun, it also spins on its axis. لما الشمس هيجي الشمس والأرض في نفس الوقت لما الأرض بتدور حول الشمس بتكون تدور حول نفسها حول محورها on its axis. You must remember the previous lesson. We said that the earth travels around itself, around its axis. Look here. Look at the earth, how it travels around the sun, and also it travels on its axis, spins on its axis. Okay. We have 4 seasons. The 4 seasons are caused by the earth revolving around the sun once a year. لما الفصول الأربعة بتتكون كيف؟ بتتكون نتيجة دوران الأرض حول الشمس مرة بالسنة. Look here. If it begins from here, it goes, revolves. The earth is revolving. Look around the sun. This orbit takes 1 year. At the same time, here we have the 4 seasons which are caused by the earth revolving around the sun once a year. Here is a picture of the 4 seasons which are spring, summer, autumn, winter. الربيع, الصيف, الخريف والشتاء. What are the 4 seasons? The 4 seasons are bravo. Look at the following diagram. Now we are going to see a diagram which shows us the position of the earth in its orbit around the sun at different months of the year. This picture also is put in your book, page 91. So this picture shows us تفرجينا موضع الأرض في مدارها حول الشمس in different months في شهور مختلفة في السنة. Look here. Here are the months: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November. This revolution of the earth around the sun takes 1 year, 365 days and quarter a day. Watch this video about the seasons and the sun.
Winter, spring, summer, fall. Seasons. I just love them all. Other than inspiring me to make up goofy poetry, why wouldn't you love the seasons? There's always something to look forward to. You already know that summer means long days of fun in the sun, and winter means shorter days, not to mention building snowmen and making lots of Frozen references. Okay, so clearly the sun and seasons are linked. But how? You already know that the sun is pretty important. It is the center of the solar system, after all. You also know that our planet, Earth, revolves around the sun, making its orbit once every 365 days. And remember, Earth isn't taking that lap while it's standing straight up and down. Instead, it's tilted on its axis, the invisible line around which our planet spins. Put together, the Earth's tilt on its axis and the orbit it makes around the sun.
As we said before, the earth revolves around the sun, and at the same time it spins on its axis. She is repeating what I have said before. Concentrate, please. Thank you.
Part of the year, one of the hemispheres, which is half of the Earth, is leaning toward the sun, and the other part of the year, it's leaning away. Let's follow the northern hemisphere once around the sun to see how this works. In June, the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. This means that it's getting a lot of direct sunlight, light that's hitting it straight on. If you ever sat directly underneath a bulb, you know that things can get pretty hot, and that's exactly what's happening to the northern hemisphere. It's summertime and the living is easy. Temperatures are warm and days are long. In December, though, the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun. It's getting indirect sunlight, meaning light is hitting it at an angle. Indirect sunlight means cooler temperatures, shorter days, and, for lots of folks, hot cocoa and bundling up since it's winter. But how can the angle of the sun's light make a difference between hot and cold? Well, try this little trick with a flashlight. Get a flashlight and dim the lights in your room a little bit. If you turn the flashlight on and point it straight down onto your desk, you'll see a small, bright, concentrated circle of light. That's kind of how sunlight hits the northern hemisphere during the summer. Bright and intense. Now move the flashlight down at an angle and point it at the top of your desk. See how the light isn't as bright and is less intense where it falls? That's like the sunlight we get in winter. But what about spring and autumn? During these two seasons, the Earth's orbit causes the northern hemisphere to be neither tilted toward the sun nor away from it. So temperatures during the spring and fall are more moderate, not too hot and not too cold, since the entire globe is getting about the same amount of direct sunlight at once. Now, let's take a look at how the amount of sunlight affects temperatures in the northern hemisphere over the course of a whole year. An easy way to show this yearly pattern is by using a graph. This graph shows the average high temperature in each month for 1 year in Toronto, Canada, where I live. Looking at the graph, we see that during December, January, and February, when the northern hemisphere is getting very little direct sunlight, temperatures are low. And in the months of June, July, and August, when the tilt of the Earth on its axis is causing Toronto to get direct sunlight, the temperatures are much higher. Proof positive that something is going on here, and that
As we saw in the video, I want to tell you that before through the video, because he was talking very quickly, the summary of that is that in summer the days are long and the nights are short. بفصل الصيف النهار يكون طويل وبالليل يكون قصيرا. But in winter the days are short and the nights are long. النهار بيكون قصير والليل بيكون طويل. The seasons depend on which hemisphere you live on. hemisphere اللي هو نصف الكرة الأرضية. في عنا northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, and this is the equator, خط الاستواء. I think you took this in the geography. So the season depends on which hemisphere you live. This is the northern hemisphere and this is the southern hemisphere. Countries between the equator, this is the equator, and the North Pole, this is the North Pole, are in the northern hemisphere, بيكونوا موجودين في نصف الكرة الشمالية. Countries between the equator, this is the equator, and these are the countries between the equator and the South Pole, are in the southern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere. إذا هذا نصف الكرة الأرضية الشمالي وهذا نصف الكرة الأرضية الجنوبي. At the equator, في خط الاستواء, there are no distinct seasons. ما في فصول معينة، لا يوجد تمييز بين الفصول الأربعة. في جميع أيام السنة بتساوي الليل مع النهار. There is equal day and equal night on every day of the year. بيكونوا متساويين. Where? At the equator. What is the equator? اللي هو خط الاستواء. Watch and listen this song about season. You can sing with them.
Did you know that there are 4 seasons in every year? What's your favorite season? If you know all the seasons, clap your hands. If you know all the seasons, clap your hands.
Sing with them.
If you know all the seasons, you've got 4 terrific reasons to shout out and name the seasons. Clap your hands.
If you really love the winter, go like this. If you really love the winter, go like this. 'Cause the winter is the season when your nose is always freezing and you're shivering and sneezing. Go like this.
In the spring you run and play and shout hooray! Hooray! In the spring you run and play and shout hooray! Hooray! In the spring the grass is growing and the gentle breeze is blowing and the warm sun is glowing. Shout hooray! Hooray!
Well, if you really love the summer,
Stomp your feet. If you really love the summer, stomp your feet.
In the summer you can play and swim and camp and fish all day. All summer, please don't go away.
Stomp your feet.
If you really love the autumn, slap your knees.
If you really love the autumn,
slap your knees. When it's beginning to get cold and the leaves turn red and gold, then it's back to school you go.
slap your knees. Goodbye, 5th grade. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you.